found that I just had to carry on, because what's the alternative? I curl up in a ball and don't move. I guess that could happen, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
You're
figured
forced to
I
find. You're
have
forced.
to
That's it.
continue going. I'm Gwilym Pugh, and I'm here with my good friend Sam Branson to talk about the connections between the mountains out there and the mountains within, finding balance and perspective.
Hey, dude.
How's it going?
Yeah, good, good. Excited for our chat later. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
This is a nice little dress rehearsal.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about the mountains. What was your first mountain experience?
My first mountain experience was climbing the Matterhorn.
Your
My
first.
first.
Nice.
Actually, no, sorry. We did a training climb on Capta something. It's this big spiny ridge in Chamonix. It's like 3,000 meters drop over the side. That was pretty intense. But Matterhorn was my first proper mountain. That was after Strive, the first big challenge that I put together, Strive Challenge, where we went from London to the summit of the Matterhorn under human power. And I ended up getting airlifted off the top. So that was a pretty, big crash course in mountaineering.
So jumping right into the deep end and
Yeah,
jumping right off
yeah,
the deep end
yeah.
again. Had you experienced any mountains in the UK before
Do
that?
you know what? I've just realised this is the illness this week. No, I had actually climbed Mont Blanc before.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I did have mountaineering
But
experience.
still, Mont Blanc is the first.
Yeah, that was pretty big. Yeah,
Okay.
I would call that a very very intense ice hike, whereas the
Okay.
Matterhorn's climb
Wow.
is a
Yeah.
proper climb.
And what drew you to the Matterhorn?
It was just a sort of idea with my cousin, a crazy concept of setting up this thing called Strive, which was to take people out of their comfort zone and undertake a big challenge and raise money for charity. And um, I, uh, we just thought, how cool would it be to get a group of people together? And the Matterhorn is just, I mean, you can't really think of a more iconic
Yeah.
mountain. If a kid was going to draw a mountain on a piece of paper, it would look like the
Or on a block
Matterhorn.
of chocolate?
Or on a block of chocolate. And have you seen the hidden bear in the image?
I haven't.
Yeah. Next time you look
Okay.
at the Toblerone, there's like a hidden bear symbol. Yeah, and so we thought we would put this crazy event together and undertake London to the summit of the Matterhorn under human power, and it was pretty big challenge.
So, was that your first adventure experience? Had you done anything prior to that? What kind of called you to
I
seek
I
that?
I grew up with quite an adventurous father, and watched him go off on some pretty crazy trips. At the time, probably caused me way too much anxiety, and I didn't see the romance in it.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I sort of got the bug myself, and ended up doing two expeditions in the Arctic in my early 20s. One was from Igloo Lick to Clyde River, and Baffin Island, to sort of look at how climate change was impacting the Inuit. And then the other one was a 3-month expedition from Baffin Island to Eureka Weather Station on Ellesmere Island. And that trip was just completely changed my life, in many different ways. And that was where I really found my love of adventuring and the power of adventuring to transform yourself as well.
There's something about polar environments that really develops that. I think it's the snow is obviously like an acoustic sink, so you
Yeah.
get true silence when you're in the
Yes.
polar
Yeah. Big
environments.
time.
And when you have that silence, you can hear yourself
Oh yeah.
very loud and clear,
Yeah.
and it really has an intense impact, I think.
What experiences have you sort of had where you found that the most?
So I've had a couple treks in Finland, and just being out with zero traffic noise,
Yeah.
with zero, just it's almost like the world is deadened, so the inner voice is completely heightened, and you're forced to have that conversation with yourself. You're forced to kind of reflect on, where you're at, what's important, what are your priorities, and I just think really the polar environment or the snow is just it's unparalleled for that
No,
effect.
unbelievable. Yeah, for sure. And I just found there's just something about the monotony. It's like it's such a kind of sort of harrowingly beautiful, sparse, like landscape that doesn't change. But when you're there for that amount of time, even just a slither of color in the sky that's different from the day before suddenly becomes the biggest thing. So I just find you get so in tune with your environment and nature. It's that's also the thing about adventuring, is getting out into nature. There's not so much distraction in the modern world from us, but when you're like you say, just like forced to be present.
And you were dog sledding, right?
We were dog sledding on the those. Yeah, I mean that was
The
unbelievable.
dog sledding huskies are the best.
Yeah. Oh man,
dogs.
And mayhem at the same time. Just
beautiful mayhem. I love it.
Yeah, I mean so many romantic things I could say, but one of the more humorous is when you're traveling behind a bunch of dogs, you're basically dodging shit the entire time.
Or not even dodging it.
You don't think about that bit.
You're dodging it for the first couple of days. And how long were you out there? 3 months?
3 months.
Okay,
yeah. You get over that stuff pretty quick.
Amazing. So, Strive Challenge, you set up with the first adventure from London to the Matterhorn.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have a bigger picture for Strive then, or was it a one-off project to raise money? What were your thoughts?
It was a sort of meeting between my desire to do some good in the world and also my passion for adventure. So it was our first foray into this. I don't think, looking back now, I would have ever thought it would be this successful and have lasted this long. But I think we've now, over the 10 years, we've probably traveled 5,000 kilometers, raised about 8 million quid, and for Big Change charity, and supported about 2 million young people through that. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it just makes sense. Like, people want to go on these amazing adventures and challenge themselves using the life skills that young people need to actually, survive and thrive in life, and then using that money to kind of invest in education and giving young people the tools that they need in an ever-changing world. And so it's been fun. And for me, I always say that there's a fat slob, lazy slob inside all of us. And
I've been there.
And there's an absolute bodybuilding hero, or whatever it is, whatever your ideal of a hero is, and we can all feed either one. But for me, Strive's great because it is that kick up the arse, like every year.
Yeah.
It's like, just when I'm feeling like I'm not feeling motivated to train, it's like, I've got another Strive coming up. I need to just get my game face on. And every time I get out in nature and challenge myself, I always come back feeling healthier and happier and more inspired. And it's just a place of solace for me, going out and challenging. And I'm sure it is for you too. And I'm sure for most people at this adventure conference, it's the same way.
Yeah, I grew up without any affinity to nature. It kind of came a lot later in life, but it came from a number of fortuitous events and experiences which I was very lucky to have. But it wasn't something that was intuitive to me at the time. I think I had to be shown that effect before I believed it, and then after I had a few experiences, I was bought into it. I knew that is the way forward, and it impacts you in a way which is difficult to put into words, I think.
What would you say is one of the sort of bigger insights that you've had from being out in nature?
In hindsight, the biggest reflection is that wildlife and animals are sentient, decision-making animals, beings. And they're no different from us in that respect. I had a number of experiences in Tanzania where we encountered a massive herd of elephants, and these weren't elephants that were conditioned to human interaction, and we got to witness them actually weighing up, what do they do with us? Do they continue? Do they back off? Do they charge? And to feel that was massively impactful, because before then, kind of wildlife and animals had always just been a picture on the other side of a screen, not another being. And I think that really influenced a lot of my decisions over the following years from there.
Forming a relationship. That's the important thing, is like, it's very hard to want to protect, and especially go out of your way to protect something that you don't have a relationship with.
Yeah,
And
you can't protect what you don't know.
And so many people don't have a relationship with nature. So that's why also the power of film, I think, is so beautiful. You know, like what David Attenborough's done the world over, for people's love and connection to nature is just. I mean, for me, he's God.
Yeah, so you are a man of many talents. You have a production company as well as all the rest of the things that you do.
Yeah. A few other things.
A few other things, which we're going to experience later
films.
tonight.
They're more tackling more sort of intense issues in the world. Yeah.
Can you shed any light on?
Yeah, I mean, a whole range of. I mean, the remit is to celebrate the best of the human spirit and bring new audiences to important topics. But we've done everything from knife crime to gay rights in Russia to white slums in Africa. We did one recently about the youngest female mayor in Afghanistan in the lead up to the Taliban taking over. We've just done one about the abortion rights in Texas, about Amanda Zorowski, who basically takes the Supreme Court in Texas to court because in Texas it's absolutely, I just can't get my head around it really, but she was forced to get sepsis when they knew there was a terminal baby inside her, because it's illegal to have an abortion even though they knew the baby was terminal. So it's her story of and other women taking them to court, basically saying this is a miscarriage of justice. And so it's not light stuff. but I think
it's important though, and it's massively important.
Yeah.
So we got adventuring, charity work, co-founding charities, filmmaking, production. What else do you do?
I'm a dad. It's my biggest passion. A whole range of other bits and bobs, but just luckily get to live a dynamic life. But for me, it's all storytelling really. At the heart of it, it's creativity and like challenging myself to kind of learn about myself and step out of my comfort zone. And every time I do, there's always a gold nugget in the shit.
Is there any particular example that springs to mind, stepping out your comfort zone?
Many. Expedition-wise, the Matterhorn was pretty full on. I'd spent the whole day trying not to fall off the mountain, and the idea of when I get to the summit, there's going to be, I'm going to have to be airlifted off because it was the safest place, so I had to push myself through and getting winched, and they don't want you to hit the mountain with the wind, so they basically they put the rope down, you put it under your arms, and then they literally fly as fast as they can away from the mountain.
Wow.
And I was just like, I was holding on to my guide, who's Kenton Cooled, you've probably heard of him, he's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
And I was just in tears. I was a complete wreck, and not in control of my body. I think that's altitude sickness as well.
Yeah.
And then sort of the hardest challenges in life, I think, are the ones that you don't choose.
Yeah.
That sort of just pop up for you and what you need to grow through as an individual, and they're the ones that I think give you the biggest insights and wisdoms along the way too.
Cool.
What about yourself? You must have had a few little hairy moments.
Getting lost in the Andes. That was good fun, especially after I just watched the movie Alive.
Oh wow!
2 weeks before it went out as well.
Were you with people?
Not when I got lost. So similar situation. This was my first big mountain experience, and full disclosure, I wasn't prepared, and I didn't sleep for 4, maybe 5 nights on a trot, and I decided to turn around and bail.
Yeah.
But my climbing partner was going to push through to the summit. So that meant we had to do a bit of portaging up to the next camp to go and get the stuff to come back. And then I had to then drop off the tent to her. And then I had to go back from Camp 1 all the way back to the base, which was around about 80 kilometers or so on my own, which was both the most terrifying and amazing experience I think I've ever had. There's something strange about when you're on your own, which I kind of learned. I'm a little bit scared of heights, and there are a couple of situations where I'm on literally like the edge of a scree slope going back. But when you're
Crampons.
no, no, it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
rock
Okay,
at that
yeah.
point. But when you've got no one to be scared to, I found that I just had to carry on, because what's the alternative? I curl up in a ball and don't move. I guess that could happen, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
You're
figured
forced to
I
find- you're
have
forced-
to
that's it,
continue
you're
going,
reliant on
and
yourself, yeah.
it was really, really expensive
Yeah.
and horrifying at the moment, especially when I lost the trail a couple times.
Yeah, of course.
But then in hindsight, one of the most empowering experiences to have been through, to know that living through that fear is just a fear that you project onto people to try and find comfort and try and find sympathy from the people around you. When you don't have that, you just got to crack on.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what was that? What's that quote? Fear, fuck everything and run, or face everything and rise.
I thought it was false evidence appearing real, but I like that. I
Right,
prefer
all of
yours.
it.
Yeah.
All of them. But anyway, that's the best. The best wisdoms are the ones learned in the laboratory of life, and so
Yeah,
I'm gonna take that
absolutely.
one. Yeah.